Alright guys, today we are going to react to another video, which is about the weird psychology of shiny Pokemon. I'm a pro shiny hunter, obviously. I've been shiny hunting for about... when I first got Pokemon Black and White 2, that's when my shiny hunting era started. And yeah, we're just going to react to this. If you like this kind of stuff, please consider subscribing and liking the video. You'd be a great help. And yeah, I appreciate it. Let's get into the video. The weird psychology of shiny Pokemon.
Only the appearance of a stranger saved Cesaria from impending destruction. From whence he came, no one knows.
That's a weird intro.
His strength and courage were without peer.
Are you familiar with a game called Ultima Online? Cool.
No.
I wasn't until I read this 2018 article on digital materiality. Ultima to me is just a spell in Final Fantasy, but to some folks
that
it's
I
home
know.
to one
That I
of the
know.
goofiest phenomena in all of gaming. You see, in Ultima Online there are horses, like there are in a lot of games, but to add a little bit of charm to the world, at launch, developers added horse poo to some of the stables because, you know...
Huh? Why? Huh? Why did they add, horse poo to it? And that's a weird one. I guess.
No, horses take dumps. If you wanted to,
We
you
know.
could pick it
We
up
know.
and keep it as
Horses
an item.
take
A
dumps.
useless item, mind you. It serves no in-game purpose whatsoever, but if your heart so desired, it was yours. Definitely a cute little thing the devs did with this, but what they did not
Why?
do, however, was design the horses to produce more poo. And when the Ultima community realized that the poop was not a renewable resource and only about one in, I don't know, every 30,000 players
What? I don't think so. I wouldn't want to hunt this. I'm not a poo hunter.
had a
I
piece,
guess you can do it.
And the in-game value of this
That's
actual horse shit skyrocketed. This poo was used as a status symbol. It was a collector's
that is
item. It could be
great.
traded for
That is
tons of in-game
amazing.
currency. It became a trophy to put on display among the community. This was the UO equivalent to having a blue eyes white dragon on the playground, except it was excrement. What does this have to do with shiny Pokemon, you ask?
But why show slick? Why show the Gudra line for this? Are you saying the shiny Gudras look like? Huh? Are you saying that? I hope not.
Well, more than you think, and I'll tell you.
That's
but
an
first,
alpha
I've got to pay the
shiny.
bills.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
ever gone to Google and searched something like, I don't know,
I really want to go around in Pokemon Legends Arceus and catch every shiny, but as in alpha. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be ridiculous.
Umbreon PNG, only to find a PNG that is in fact not a PNG? This happens to me a lot, actually. Making thumbnails and or memes for these videos.
I hate this. I hate this. Like, the problem is, you download a PNG, it's not transparent. You get to go to the next, you download it, it's not transparent. The suffering of a video
There's lots of
editor.
repeated downloading from a lot of websites until I finally find what I need. And when you do a cascade of downloading like that, you open yourself up to the possibility of downloading an infected file, malware, and the like. Which is why I trust NordVPN and their new feature,
Hello,
threat protection, which protects your
NordVPN.
device from malicious sites, downloads, trackers, and intrusive ads.
I'll let him
even
have
if
his
you're
little
not currently connected to your VPN.
ad.
And speaking of VPN, we all know how important it is to protect your data online, and NordVPN is simply the best at what it does.
I remember the time
With
when
all of your
NordVPN
data
was
on all of your devices
basically
stays
everywhere.
safe behind
It was
a wall of
basically
next
everywhere.
generation encryption, which is something that incognito mode does not do. And I don't think I need to remind you that using this service, you can route your connection elsewhere in the world to unlock the full library of your favorite streaming service. Right now, you can get a 2-year plan at a massive discount, plus one
Or you can access Twitter from Brazil. Fun fact, Twitter is still the #1 used news app, in quotes, in Brazil. even though they nuked it. That's funny.
additional month for free when you go to nordvpn.com/DarylTG. It's risk-free
okay.
with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and this is the best deal NordVPN offers, so don't miss out. One more time, that's nordvpn.com/DarylTG, or click the link in the description below. Thanks again to
That's
Nord
what
for
we
sponsoring,
want.
and with that said,
I should like the
back
video.
to horse poo.
To horse
People
poo.
like their stuff, even their digital stuff, especially when it holds some kind of special inherent rarity or value. We crave the unique and the hard to find because
kinda.
I think in a lot of ways, what we have says a lot about ourselves, and we all like to think that we are unique. There is a reason people crave deep customization. There is a reason people obsessively grind to get those rare Steam achievements. There is a reason horse poo can be a status symbol, and there is a reason people spend 30+ hours soft resetting to get shiny god.
30? 30. 30, yeah. Multiple days. What do you mean 30 hours?
So what
Only
I
a
want to do
200
on today's episode of Daryl Highlights a Bunch is talk about the psychology of shiny hunting and to a lesser degree video game collectibles. What makes these things so valuable, or at least what makes them seem valuable enough to go to
17,000 encounter, almost 18,000 encounters. Sure.
Eggs or hunting down all of the endings for a trophy totally normal nowadays? Why do these digital pets and knickknacks enchant us like they do? We could simply say that shiny Pokemon are rad and everyone wants them, so it's only natural that some people are going to have the drive to actually make it happen. But after this, there's got to be more going on here, and as you might have imagined, there is. So to get this going, let me give you a gift. Close your eyes and imagine that I have just handed you a water bottle. It's sturdy, it feels heavy but not too heavy. The surface is smooth and pleasing to the touch. It seems to be insulated, and overall it feels very quality. It looks like the lid twists off, and even that is really sturdy. You aren't sure how much water it will hold.
What does he mean now?
It's yours now. Drink imaginary water from it, put stickers on it, give it a name, enjoy it while we continue the video.
Isn't that doesn't it have emotional value after this?
If you've ever come across a shiny Pokemon before, you'll know that it's one hell of an adrenaline rush. All at once, time slows down, and it feels like you've been struck by lightning, but somehow
it's more like
successfully reach into your back pocket
at this point for me. I've shiny hunted too much. My shiny hunting
your heart doesn't explode. And unlike most Pokemon, you can
tingles
just
are
hunt
not
down in a
longer
few
tingling.
minutes. For shinies, if you don't
Depends
have
on the
a
shiny
Master
though.
Ball, it takes some extremely high stakes strategy to actually come away with the prize in some of these encounters.
Oh, that hurt. You failed the shiny Mewtwo. My heart is broken. Oh, don't worry, I failed shiny in Heart Gold. It just happens.
It's a rush like no other. It's tantalizing unless you don't know what a shiny Pokemon is, or upon seeing one once thought the game was busted, like me whenever I was a kid. I came across a golden ladybug, right? But instead of trying to catch it, I just stared at it, befuddled, and I thought that maybe something was wrong with my Game Boy. I had just saved, so I shut the game off, pulled out the cartridge, blew in it as you do, and popped it back in. Little did I know that I had just won a small lottery and refused the money.
That hurts. That hurts. That hurts a lot.
I had just rolled a 1
that's personal pain.
Odds ladybug.
That is.
But
I take
no
that personally.
And we've all heard of other similar stories of people just not realizing what they had, or being a potato-brained kid like me. This isn't complicated. Knowing the odds is what gives shiny Pokemon their value, not...
Tell me what your first shiny was. Mine was a Tentacool. I still have that Tentacool. It's sitting in my Pokemon Black version, currently. Yeah, I still have it.
Just their alternative color. Knowing what something is worth is what makes garage sales fun, which is why all at once this Dookie became the richest prize in the game. Because of how our brains work, all it takes for a digital item to...
The way you get that shiny Steelix is by using the repel trick. The more you know.
Coveted is an artificial rarity, or something that Vivi Ledinverda and Edward Castronova call time aristocracy. You see, in Ultima, there is a set amount of poop in the game, and that's that. Basic economics. Demand increases, supply remains the same, prices increase. But new shiny Pokemon can be generated, just extremely slowly. You are free to complete your Pokedex for a shiny
Basically.
charm, help out
Basically.
your odds, soft reset, reroll, hatch more eggs, or more recently, use mass outbreaks in Legends Arceus to eventually find the shiny Pokemon you want. Sure, it's technically never guaranteed.
Basically, yeah. Shinies can always be produced. Always. There's always more. There's always more you can get. So, yeah, he's correct.
But you are welcome
It's
to put in
unlimited.
the work, and more than likely, eventually,
shiny
you'll get what you're
spirit
after.
too.
But only if you devote copious amounts of time doing menial button inputs or pursuing extremely specific exploits.
And now, if I run away from battle, that would be the exact same thing as if I only initiated a battle with 2 and knocked out 2.
And this is exactly what is meant
I did that method. And it works. But it was so complicated to understand, and it only works with Pokemon that target you, that want to attack you. So passive Pokemon, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
by time aristocracy. If you have the time, you'll be rewarded with social status. Now you can flex that you have a version of your favorite Pokemon that very few other people do. In this
I
context,
don't flex with Pokemon anymore because it's so easy to get them nowadays. I can flex with Cosmic Nexomon, which is the Nexomon equivalent to a shiny Pokemon. I can flex
many
without
forms,
it.
by the
Those
way.
are a little
Not
more
just
rare.
time, but also skill, location, and combinations
Yeah,
of
skill.
each. Devoting yourself to doing this is definitely one way a game demands your time, but another is by simply placing windows on when certain items are available. I still haven't played this, by the way, but unless I'm mistaken, Animal Crossing has seasonal items that are only available during certain times of the year. Gacha games only run certain banners for short periods of time,
Gacha
and
games.
games run limited time events for unique rewards and benefits all the time.
I play too much
refuse to
gacha
play
game-
Final
too many
Fantasy
gacha
14
games.
because, well, that's one hell of a slippery slope, but something tells me there is a great example of this in
What
that
is
game
that?
as well. Maybe someone watching can confirm.
Oh, is that
An
Final Fantasy
extreme
14?
example of this is the Topps card trader apps that will, without warning, make certain cards available for purchase only within a set time frame. This leaves users
Is Final Fantasy 14 good? Is it? I have no idea.
investing not only their money, but also their time, ensuring they don't
Is it
miss out
fun?
on exclusive limited edition cards. Per the scarcity principle, by limiting the artificial supply, the game sort of creates a real world demand. And though most games aren't this brutal, the psychology works the same. Regardless of how it's created, we seem
Ugh,
to
GG.
greatly value that which is hard to attain. And in fact, there is research
I mean, Shiny Dratini looks fine. Shiny Dragonite, not so much. That looks like poop.
to suggest
True.
that scarcity actually tarnishes our decision making pretty heavily. That need to get what we don't have for some people can actually act as sort of an extreme form of FOMO, which may shed light into why some people obsessively hunt down shiny Pokemon, trading cards, or all of the achievements a game has.
Well, I don't agree with specifically Pokemon here, because there is no real FOMO involved. It's not going anywhere. Like, as long as you have the game, it's not going anywhere. Sure, Shiny Gimmighoul is one of those, and obviously Pokemon Go does play with that. But, the base games, like the main games, and like spin-offs that have shiny Pokemon, they don't really play with that too much. Nexomon doesn't do it at all. Coromon doesn't do it at all. So yeah.
To offer. Games and community interfaces
But some
only
games do.
exacerbate this with some of their features.
There's games where a trophy is tied to a DLC, and if you don't get the DLC, you don't get a trophy. And if you buy the game later, when basically it's not no more available anywhere, you cannot get that trophy. So that can kind of create FOMO. True.
Steam does this little thing where it shows you what percentage of players have earned certain achievements, meaning you can readily see how your accomplishments in games stack up.
I really want to see how many people have every perfect Koromon in the world. I would love to see that. I would really love to see that.
PlayStation does this as well, and shows what trophies your friends are earning, and because of this, in-game accomplishment is often coveted in the exact same way as in-game valuables. This would be the skill-based aristocracy. Not everyone has the time to hunt down a shiny Pokemon or get this much gil in Final Fantasy VII, much in the same way not everyone has the skill to beat the final boss of Dead Cells without taking a single hit, or unlock the invisibility hat in Mario Odyssey. Scarcity comes in many forms: time, skill, and yes, like I said before, locations. Remember back in summer of 2016
I
when Pokemon
hate
Go
that
had you breaking
some
the speed
Pokemon
limit on
are
the way to your local
locked to
library because
locations.
someone online said that a Hitmonlee had spawned there?
Okay, bro.
Remember begging your parents to take you to Burger King for one of these? You ever gone to GameStop
Damn.
just for an event Pokemon? These different forms of aristocracy often make us
Never. I never went anywhere for an in-game Pokemon. And I never will. I hate these events. I want the Pokemon to be shiny huntable. And if they're not available, then I don't care. That's why I don't play Pokemon Go anymore. It's just money making, and they're trying to get my money as a shiny hunter for like mythicals and such. And I don't care. I refuse. Sorry.
us look pretty silly, but it seems we all crave these prizes for the same reasons. Not everyone can have them. Like the authors of the study I mentioned at the beginning point out, if everyone cannot have a digital item, the item may gain symbolic value and serve to differentiate collectors. And that really is the key here.
Yeah, but I wouldn't relate that to Pokemon necessarily, because everybody can get them. The question is, how far are you willing to go to get that specific shiny Pokemon? That's the question.
That sense
Because
of
everything that is
differentiation.
huntable
Games
can be
provide
got.
a lot of things for us: a captivating story, a way to connect with friends, a way to challenge ourselves, maybe a way to express ourselves. But because developers generally can't make an infinite variety of avenues for player expression, rarely will you be the only one using something. Everyone has access to the same
That's a nice
clothes, the
scythe.
same weapons, the same Pokemon, and suddenly you may feel a little less unique for doing the same as others. Initially, I was enchanted by Ronnie's questline in Elden Ring, and I felt a connection to the characters in it. Once I had finished that quest up, I used the Dark Moon Greatsword that you get at the end of the quest and some of Blade's armor to, as silly as it might sound, kind of honor the memory of those characters and express my love for that little story arc. That is, until I saw my friends and legions of other people were doing that, and suddenly I fell straight out of my little headcanon and into what felt like a global fan club.
This might just be a you thing. That might just be a you thing.
Everyone
actually
is. What's the fun of going with the flow? What's the fun of having a shiny Ponyta if everyone gets one?
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
And when everyone has that shiny, no one has it. Yeah, I didn't get that Ponyta. I still haven't done that side quest. I will do that side quest eventually, but like I have enough Ponytas. I got my Ponyta in Let's Go Eevee. And I have like a couple of them in Go, like, nah. And Go shinies are worthless regardless.
And I hesitate to bring this up,
especially if
because
they're
the internet
community.
has finally shut the hell up about it,
NFTs.
but it's because of this mentality that, what does that stand for again? Nefarious flamingo tokens saw such a colossal surge of interest.
Not the
especially in
NFT
gaming.
stuff,
What
no.
if you could be the
That was
exclusive
awful,
owner
man.
of a set of armor, right? What if this was your sword and absolutely no one else's? This is not me defending NFTs, by the way. The cons at this point in time massively outweigh the pros, but on a surface level, this may explain some of the fascination. But this is
Probably.
something that at a fundamental level,
Fire
I think
Emblem
a lot of
Heroes.
us can see through, right?
I mean, it's fun, but like,
A lot of us fully
I
understand
stopped
that,
again.
Topps trading cards are just JPEGs you can screenshot online if you want. Usually your waifu can be downloaded instead of pulled, and shiny Pokemon are just a different color, man. And in some cases, the word different might be a little too generous. When you take a step back and
I mean,
think
at least
about it,
at least you see it. You get me? At least you see Munchlax, but their shinies like Garchomp, they're like, man, why? But some of these Pokemon look the way they do now because because of that transition from 2D to 3D and basically they threw all the Pokemon in a washing machine for a little too while. And they lost
we're
the
all
color.
being played. We're buying into what clearly
Jackass.
is an artificially created rarity through code instead of a real value, right? I've certainly felt that way
Xiangling,
before,
my
and if you
beloved.
feel the same, do me a favor and pick up that imaginary water bottle from earlier. Remember this guy?
Again.
Have you been using him? Like him? Well, let me ask you a question. How would you like to have this imaginary blanket? It's super soft to the touch. It feels like it would keep you warm, but it's also somehow kind of cool. Like it's not suffocating. It wouldn't make you sweat. It's a good size, but not too terribly big. And again, like before, overall, it's quality. All you needs to do to get this blanket is give back your water bottle. You can't have both, so which will it be?
Probably the water bottle.
I don't know what you chose. You can let me know in the comments below if you like.
Since there's no emotional value attached to the water bottle, most people probably would keep the water bottle. Just from what I can see.
More than likely,
just from what I
bet
can
that
tell.
most of you chose to keep the water bottle. Or maybe you're cold when you're watching this, so you went with the blankie. But regardless, this is an imaginary version of a pretty well-known study where researchers did this with a coffee mug and a chocolate bar. One group received the mug first, then was later given the surprise option to swap it for a chocolate bar. Another group received the chocolate bar first, with a chance for the mug second. In both cases, the large majority of participants preferred to keep the object they started out with, which is why I bet that most of you decided to keep your imaginary water bottle. This is a demonstration of something called the endowment effect.
I would actually trade the chocolate bar against the mug. Because the chocolate bar is temporary. The mug is not. At least if I don't drop it.
Which is the
That's from what
tendency
I
of
can,
people to
like,
place
tell
a
and see.
higher value on an item once they own it or once it has become associated with the self in some way.
Yeah, like I
And
said,
it's
it's
because of
the moment it
endowment
has
effect
emotional
that
value.
Someone like me who, as I mentioned earlier, thought I saw through the whole artificial rarity thing and swore I would never shiny hunt was completely changed when I came across one large chirpy boy. And it took
Whoop. Of course.
several come to
That's-
Jesus
that's
moments after
meme-like.
this to convince myself that shiny hunting was not how I was going to spend my time.
You will
but it's
shiny hunt.
amazing how fast this whole endowment effect interacts
He did not only find a regular one. He found an alpha. That is insane.
with the artificial
That is
scarcity.
insane, dude.
This is my least favorite Pokemon, Stunky. Would you like to see my typical reaction to Stunkies when I play Pokemon? Fucking Stunky, get away. No one likes Stunky, dude. What a waste of a Pokemon. And now, would you like to see my reaction to coming across a shiny Stunky? Wait, is that a... Hey, Pepe Le Pew, let's go. Stunky's my boy. Stunky more like funky, baby. And this really is the difference between an image
Bro switched up real quick. Yeah, that's when you see a shiny. No matter how ugly that thing looks, it's a shiny. It doesn't matter.
and an image that you can say you own. Ownership is a powerful sensation because it's less about the thing and more so about what
Yeah,
the
but
thing
we no longer own games, at least for what I could tell, so it does no longer count for games. But always remember, guys, if buying isn't owning, pirating isn't stealing. stunt on these hoes.
Presents
I
by
mean-
being ours.
I mean-
in a 2018 study, researchers performed
I
a
mean,
series of
that's a hot
interviews where they would
Pokemon
ask
character.
people to describe, compare, and rank objects they own and are proud of. Participants talked
Of course
about
I'm
their
proud of.
clothes,
Why
their
wouldn't I be?
vehicles, their homes,
Why wouldn't
wristwatches,
I be?
shoes, and everything in between. Folks listed tons of reasons why they were most proud of their belongings. One, of course, was social status through expensive things, but what was more common was items that people had worked for or achieved in some way. Degrees instead of houses,
Yeah.
artwork instead of
Yeah.
name brand clothing. Another huge reason was a sense of connectedness, maybe a watch that was given by a grandfather or a necklace given by a former lover. In essence, it's not
Emotional
just
value,
rarity or
like I
even
said.
aesthetic that makes items precious.
Oh, shiny Ho looks so good. Shiny Ho looks so good. I got mine in hot gold. Soft resetted for it. Came pretty quick. I think after 2K soft resets. Yeah, I
to
love
us,
Ho.
but also
It's such a
what
pretty
only
shiny.
those items represent to us. The hand cannon in Dead Space 2 isn't just valuable because only around 6% of players ever get it, or just because it's hilarious. It's valuable because it represents your growth as a player to be able
True,
to beat the
true.
game on its hardest difficulty. That completed Thieves' Den in Persona 5 may be more than just a status symbol, it may be your way of expressing love for a title that means the world to you, your way to give something back to your favorite game. Catching a shiny Pokemon isn't just thrilling because of the elusiveness, but also because it may have been your favorite mon since you first discovered the series. That old jacket may not be all that nice, but it belonged to an old friend.
Basically.
Now, in the year 2080, your granddaughter
I shiny hunt because it gives me something to focus on. It gives me something to do. And yeah, I just love it. I just it's also really easy to like do it while you stream. Because it's like really simple. You don't need to do much. Except for Legends Arceus.
may have a shiny Electabuzz that you passed down to her and she keeps for sentimental reasons. You know, your son's like, I'll never forget whenever dad caught this on stream. But because of the nature of video games, there aren't exactly family heirlooms, so meaningfulness has to be artificially represented in some way. Luck, as we've discussed, can add a differentiation, effort can add feelings of pride, but sensations of connectedness might be a tricky one. How can a digital item carry the same aura that a physical item would? Especially when I want to get sentimental about a questline in Elden Ring, but then of course everyone has to pick that ending. In a 2012 research paper, one University World of Warcraft
Pretty
player
much,
recalls a piece of equipment that she was gifted in-game from a
I mean, you technically could pass down your account for a Pokemon Home, because that does exist. You could technically do that.
friend. Regarding this equipment, she is quoted as saying the following. Last year, I got something very specific to me, a piece of equipment from my character class. It was that bit much more special because it was individually tailored to me. Most things I wouldn't be that upset if I lost because I could just buy them again, but with gifts, it would never be quite the same because she wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
And I would know that. Another Forza player recalls a car that he created with his partner that, in his words, is irreplaceable simply because they made it
Emotional
together.
value.
Despite being a digital item, he feels that if it were erased, remaking it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't carry the same meaning as it once did. For digital
It all
items
comes
to
down
have a
to
sentimental
emotional
quality
value.
like this, researchers think that they have to carry some kind of digital patina. If you have an old family heirloom, you know that it ages, right? That pocket watch is nicked at the bottom, your grandma's photo album is frayed at the edges, that old scarf is faded. Little things like this add character to items, idiosyncrasies that make that keepsake feel as though it still has the aura of the person or the time that it represents to you. These details help document the history of those items
Yeah.
and make make them mortal.
Well,
In games,
what
this
do you
is
want
tough to do
to
because
say with
programming
this
in signs
now?
of deterioration is a
Where
lot
does
of
this
work
go?
unless it simply breaks at the end of its life. But games do try to create a digital patina in other more subtle ways, like customizable equipment, weapons, and the like. The car and the equipment from before are special because of the people they are associated with, but the fact that they are both in some way tailor-made makes them different from just another exact copy of an item that any player can just find. Pokemon is actually great at doing this as well. Each Pokemon has a history. Nowadays, you'll always be able to see who that Pokemon originally belonged to.
You have the ID, you have your original trainer, Ivy's, what is it called? Nature's abilities, where it was caught, when it was caught. What else? Obviously, it has some extra value, emotional value if you shiny hunted for it. Yeah, that's every Pokemon is in some form unique.
You'll always see what kind of ball it was caught in, what its nature is, if it had Pokerus, its height, its weight,
For example,
when
if you
and
catch
where.
a shiny Spinda, that is the only, probably the only shiny Spinda that is like this, because Spinda has like hundreds of different like patterns.
Where in
So
the
yeah,
region
makes sense,
it was
yeah.
caught, or maybe where on Earth it was caught. Little things like that, before you even get to the possibility of it being shiny, adds so much character and so much individuality to your new friend. It takes what in some games might just be a string of code or just another copy of the same legendary weapon anyone can get to something completely and totally yours. Something that reflects your personality, your accomplishments, and maybe even
That's what
reminds you
Pokemon
of
does really well.
someone else. Shiny Pokemon are sort of the perfect storm of
naked.
everything we've talked about today. As we've discussed, lots of games do these things separately, right? Time aristocracy in events, digital patinas in customization, the endowment effect in
I hate timed events. I hate it.
general.
I really
but
hate it.
Pokemon is
I
one of
don't
very
like
few
it.
games that truly pull
Because
from
like,
each
if I
of these
can get
different
something
pieces
only in
to
a
make
specific
catching
time frame,
Mon
then I
truly
don't care
feel
too much about it.
special for the player. You could argue that there is a skill aristocracy as well, depending on if you feel it really takes skill to complete the Pokedex, get a shiny charm, and then really optimize your time hunting these precious little albinos. But regardless of where you land on that, Game Freak has done a phenomenal job of making your new partners feel unique by artificially manufacturing prestige, authenticity, and psychological ownership.
Yeah.
Throw that in with infinite rerolls, a luxury poo hunters do not have, and it's no wonder
Even
people
going so far to catch it in the right Pokeball, for example, this is it Skorupi? I think it's Skorupi. Catching it in a Pokeball? Yeah, I'd say Pokeball. In a regular Pokeball. Adds so much to it.
spend days at a time trying to hunt down
Catching
their
it
own
in the right
personal
animation
holy
when you
grail.
throw out a
Believe
Pokemon.
me, if gacha games had infinite rerolls so long as you put in enough time and money wasn't a factor, we would have a hell of a lot more waifu hunting on our hands and your grandkids would have Diluc passed down to them instead. All that to say, you aren't crazy for shiny hunting or even being interested in shiny hunting. It is
I'm not crazy for shiny hunting, but I'm crazy for what I'm doing. I have about I caught all 124 perfect Koromon. I've got about 20 to 30 Cosmic Nexamon. I've got about 600 shinies, individual shinies, not duplicates, individual. If we go on with duplicates, I'm at least at like what, 700, 800. I might just be crazy.
inherently appealing because of everything.
And I
we
want a
just talked
shiny hunt in every game, not just Pokemon. So yeah, I am crazy.
I'd be lying
I
if
wouldn't
I said
deny
I
that
didn't
I'm
dabble
crazy.
in it for a week after beating Legends Arceus and after catching my 2 new favorite Pokemon, so give it a
Alpha.
try if you're on the fence about it. Or don't. Plus, I think there's something kind of relaxing about slowly grinding or farming for something in games, but that might be a whole other video.
It's also great for streaming,
Usually,
like I said.
end these things by
Streaming
dropping some
Shiny Hunter go really well
inspiring line
together.
about how gaming touches our hearts in a
'Cause you
way
can talk
few
with your
other
chat.
mediums can, and then I'll have the music swell
Oh,
over
Final
an
Fantasy
inspiring
13.
shot that cuts to
I
black
like
as the
Final
beat
Fantasy
drops. But
13,
today,
if many
I'll
don't.
simply say, I've been Daryl. You've been a lovely audience. Thanks for watching. In summary, shiny Pokemon, good.
Yeah. Is that it for the video?
You will not shiny hunt.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. It was easily one of the most frantic scripts I have ever written.
It was
Sometimes
also
it's
really
tough to get all your
enjoyable,
thoughts
I
together,
agree.
But if you're hearing this, clearly it all worked out. I want to thank you guys for being such good sports about the April Fool's video. I may have gone a little bit too far, but I regret
An
nothing.
April Fool's
Plus,
video?
an
Really?
actual anime Psych of Play episode is in the works, so maybe
Chainsaw
that'll
Man.
convince you to forgive me. Thanks as always to my wonderful Patreon supporters.
Never ask Chainsaw Man fans what happened in their manga. We all know what happened in their manga.
Including this month's featured patrons, Hugo Gallego,
Well, this is just Patreons now, so yeah. I enjoyed the video a lot. I hope you did so too, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.